At last, a beautiful water close to home. I'm Bob Nudd, 4 times world course angling champion. And although we've been around the country in search of fantastic locations, I have to say it's terrific to be on familiar territory. It's funny, when you have the good fortune to fish all over the world like I do, you can sometimes take for granted what's on your own doorstep. But I promise you, when it comes to angling, that's never been the case. I still get excited as I arrive at the lakeside or riverbank. After all, this has been a lifelong passion. And of course, with so many species to target, I'm always spoiled for choice. But today it's bream I'm after, an all-time favourite. Winter has arrived. Yesterday they had 2 inches of snow here. Even though it's still late autumn, the wind is a cold northeasterly. So I've picked somewhere to fish where the wind will be on my back, at least I'll be warm, and perhaps it will be a warmer area for the fish as well. If we look out to where I'm going to fish today, this is quite a deep lake. At its full depth it's about 3.5 metres. I'm going to fish with the pole so that everything is precise and exact, so that I know that where I bait up and where I fish, the fish, when it's difficult, it's good to fish in a really tight area. I'm looking to fish 11 metres and 14 metres, 2 lines, feed with a bit of ground bait, hopefully to attract the bream. There's some really big bream in here, bream and skimmers. Also some good roach as well. I think we'll catch a mixture of everything today. And even though it's freezing cold, I'm really excited because I know I'm going to catch. I always do. Let's go and get my gear. The battle plan. Fish still need to be fed. The water temperature is cold, but I need to get the fish where I can catch them. To begin with, some 2mm carp pellets. The bream love these. They're just small pellets. Really, they're compressed ground bait. And I've got some maggots and some pinkies, some different baits. And I've done some ground bait, some bream ground bait, so that I can put a ball in. If I could just squeeze that ball. If you look at inside there, you can just see there's some pinkies and pellets as well. I'm using a pole. That will be my main attack. With a pole, you can feed so accurately. I can put a ball of ground bait in there, a few big maggots as well, so they drip down after the ground bait to attract the fish into the area. It's deep water, so the pole is brilliant for this sort of fishing. I can put that ball of ground bait, and as long as the pole and the cup and everything is the same length as the rig I'm using, then I know my hook bait is exactly where I've positioned this ball. So there, pick a marker on the far bank so that every time you go in the same place, drop the ball in, sprinkle the maggots over the top. They will just flutter down through the water to attract more fish. Battle plan, attack, the pole is my weapon. I'm going to start with a single maggot and just nick it through as lightly as possible so that you don't damage the maggot and it will keep wriggling. It's just an extra attractor for the fish. And this is where the pole is brilliant. I can drop that hook bait exactly over where I put that ball of ground bait. I have my marker on the far bank and I can just drop that in exactly, bump, there. Once the fish get feeding and on that feed area, then every time I will be exactly where the fish are. So important. Feeding is always the most important part of angling. I'll drop that in. I'm fishing about 4 inches over depth. The fish will be on or near the bottom. That's where the ball of ground bait went. So there's just some line on the bottom. The maggot is on the bottom now. There's a little bit of drift from the left to the right, so the float is trying to go to my right. Every now and again I will hold it like that. Oh, and there's the bite, and there's the fish. Just as soon as I held it, I didn't expect to catch this quickly. Don't think it's a bream. Doesn't seem like it. I bet it's probably a good roach. Roach usually are the first to feed. Well, I didn't really expect to catch anything this early. Only just fed, and already I've got a fish. Oh, well, would you believe it? Lovely roach too, good quality. As soon as I held that maggot over the baited area, just held it a little bit so it gave some extra movement, and look at that beautiful roach. What a lovely fish, and the maggot just pushed out of its mouth, perfectly lip hooked, probably, no, close to half a pound I should think. I love roach, but we're here to catch bream. A good start though. A fish. Once these are feeding, the bream and the skimmers will come later. It's good to be back, and I've come to Barford Lakes, a well-stocked stillwater coarse fishery in the heart of East Anglia. It really is a beautifully tranquil spot where you can get away from it all and enjoy a peaceful day's fishing, unless you happen to be here for a match when the atmosphere will be buzzing. Either way, the experience will always be enhanced by the picturesque setting and the prolific wildlife. When it comes to catching, there are plenty of good-sized bream, and you'll also find carp of all varieties, as well as roach, rudd, tench and chub. The countryside may be flat, but close to the stunning and ancient city of Norwich, the sunsets can be simply breathtaking. This is Norfolk at its beautiful best, and absolutely the perfect setting for another day doing what I love best, fishing. Let's try that again. It worked, single maggot. Always the best way to start when it's difficult. Just nicking it through lightly. And then drop it over that feed area. Well, that was a brilliant start. Fish straight away on ice cold conditions. Although the sun is shining a bit today, it's coming in and going out. There's a little bit of sun, so it's not that uncomfortable to fish. It's just that all that icy water has gone in, that snow, and it always will slow things down a bit. Oh, there's a bite straight away. As I slow it down, I see the float almost went straight away, then there's a fish there now. Look at that, you see it just trying to, what is it? Hasn't gone yet though, so I'm giving it time. And still not gone. Just the fish just touched it, I think, but didn't take it. There it goes. Oh, that's got it. Oh, is it a bream? Feels like a bigger fish. Maybe another one of those big roach. I really waited quite a time for that one. Just gave it plenty of time before I struck. I think it's another one of these big roach. Oh. It's not, do you know, I think it's just a quick glimpse. I think it's a rudd. No, it is a roach. Bob now doesn't know his fish. It is a rudd. Ooh. Just a receding top lip, slightly damaged, probably by a cormorant or something, but Ah, good fish, nonetheless. Rudd, you're not supposed to feed in this weather. Ooh. 2 juicy maggots on there. I wonder if that's done the trick. Brought me that elusive skimmer or bream. I think the trouble is the temperature is so low, the bream are just not feeding yet. They're always the same, they're always the last ones to feed. I put 2 big maggots on there, just hoping that it was going to be a bigger fish, but I don't know. Feels like a good fish. What is it? I'm in Norfolk at the legendary Barfoot Lakes looking for a very cold bream. I wonder if this is that bream. No, I just caught a glimpse of it. It's a beautiful roach. I really thought it was going to be, that was such a fight. I really thought it was going to be that bream. Oh, it's a cracking roach though. Probably almost a pound. Oh, better than any bream really. Oh, look at that. Perfect example of a roach. Look at the lovely red fins. Took those 2 juicy maggots. Not a bream, but a beautiful, beautiful fish. This feels like a better fish. Just gone out on a little bit longer line. Sometimes the bigger fish will lay off the bait. I've gone out 14.5 metres. Is this a bream? Feels like it. Bream or a skimmer. But there are some lovely big roach in here as well. Easing it back gently. May even be a big roach. Do you know what? It's not. It's a cross between a bream and a roach. That's a hybrid. Almost a bream, just like a skimmer. See a little bit of a crease there. But I think it's got a little bit of roach in it, that one. But getting close to a bream. Lovely fish. Let me show you the rig that I'm trying to catch these bream on. The hook is a fine wire maggot hook, size 16. And then I've got a hook length about 12 inches long of 0.12 millimetre. It's a high-tech line, somewhere just over 2 pound breaking strain. And there, can you see I've got just a small knot to join the hook length to the main line. A little shot, number 10, just on that knot. And then 4 inches further up, another small number 10 shot. These are what they call the dropper shots, the telltale shots, which indicate to me that the fish has taken the bait. The main line on here is 0.14 millimetre, just a little bit more, so it's about 3 pound breaking strain. And then quite a distance, it's cold today, so I've made quite a distance between the hook and the olivet. If you look at that, it's probably almost sort of 2.5, 3 foot long there. So it's quite a distance. And I've got a 1.5 gram olivet. It's locked in position with a piece of carbon, but I can move it. So if it's, the more harder it is, I'd move the olivet up a bit. And up to the float itself, which is 1.5 gram. Most floats, even though they say, oh, 1.5 gram, they can be a bit more. And this one, in fact, just takes a little bit more than 1.5 grams. So it's perfect for my olivet and then the droppers. With a carbon stem, it's got a bristle there. The bristle is just a high visibility bristle, picks up all the light. There is some sunlight today and that's picking it up. Around about 3 foot of line from the float to the pole tip. And I've got a number 6 elastic there. It's just about right for fish, bream anyway, up to 3 or 4 pounds. So it needs to be enough to give for small fish, but still powerful enough to control large fish. And the small connector there just to hook up the rest. So that's a fairly simple rig, olivet, 2 droppers and a hook, and we're fishing on the bottom trying to catch these bream. Well, double maggot is doing the trick today. I did have some pellets with me, hoping that they might help, but at least maggots getting the bites, which they always do on difficult days. The trouble is, every time I come in, I don't know what I'm going to catch. Just chipping back gently. Just been some really good fish though. Good quality fish feeding. Just when you're waiting to get that first glimpse of a fish, what is it? Just look like another one of those good quality roach. Yeah, it is. Whew. It's amazing how these fish have fed today. Had a roach, it's been freezing cold, but they've still fed them. And when you get hold of them, you can feel how cold they are. Oh, look at that, the hook just dropped out of that. That happens with barbless hooks, they come out easily. Such perfect condition, these fish. They really are. Beautiful, beautiful fish. Probably about ½ pound. Lovely fish. Despite the bream being widespread throughout Britain, the clunk of this fish taking your bait is always a delight, and very distinctive indeed. For man-made commercial fisheries, bream has proved to be one of the most perfect species and is widely stocked, but you'll also find them occurring naturally in rivers and still waters. Interestingly, the bream has a real taste for anything sweet, and when considering what bait to use, this is worth bearing in mind. Additives such as brasem or sweet molasses included with the feeder mixes or ground bait will work very well. Also, maggots, worms and sweet corn are all perfectly acceptable, and this is one fish that responds well to a cocktail of hook baits. So why not try getting a bit creative with your offerings? However, there's one thing I can guarantee you: once you've caught a bream, it will be you, the angler, who is well and truly hooked. Feels like slightly better fish. Bream or roach. Lovely fish. Just bringing it back very, very carefully. You never know what you're going to catch here. Felt a bit like a bream. Just gone quiet. It's usually a sign there's 1 or 2 bigger fish in your peg. Is it or is it not? It is. This is a skimmer. Just a skimmer, which is... A skimmer is a bream about £1 pound. I thought these would eventually feed. Oh, lovely fish. Took maggots. That's another thing with bream, they take the bait right down, some of them. There. just have a look at a typical, it's about a pound. Lovely fish, just decided to feed. There, you can see this, just this receding part there in the head. That's typical. They're nicknamed slabs sometimes because of the slab-sided, dark on the top, silver underneath, and the fins black tinged. So that's a small bream. We nickname them skimmers, and it's around about a pound in weight. Ah, at last a bream. Well, the sun's setting, last fish of the day. What is it? I think it's another bream. Just starting to feed now as probably the water temperatures came up a bit. Unfortunately, there's no light left. Would you believe it's a roach? I really thought it was a bream, but it's a good quality roach. Oh. Having said that, just caught a glimpse of it. Yeah. It's another one of those rudd that I caught earlier. Another one of those. But it's too late to carry on now. Light's going. The fish are still feeding. But I think it's time to go home.